They trained for war. They learned to handle bullets, to navigate battlefields, and to conquer fear. But nothing in that training, nothing they had ever experienced, could have prepared them for what they were about to walk into. On April 29, 1945, American soldiers from the 45th Infantry Division approached the German town of Dachau. What they found there would not only change them forever, but would also pull back the curtain on a horror the world had refused to see. When US troops advanced toward the outskirts of Dachau, they expected another military target. It was just another German stronghold to capture, another strategic step toward ending the war in Europe. But the closer they got, the stranger everything felt. There were no organized defenses. There was no gunfire. No resistance. Instead, an eerie, unsettling silence hung in the air. A foul, inexplicable smell lingered, a scent that seemed to cling to everything. And then there was the railway line, leading them deeper into the unknown, toward the heart of the camp. That's when they saw it. A train, dozens of open boxcars, silent and still on the tracks. As the soldiers moved closer, the scene came into horrifying focus. The cars were filled with men, women, and children, piled on top of one another, victims of starvation, disease, and suffocation during a transport that had lasted 4 days. These were the prisoners who never even made it inside the gates. For the soldiers, many of them young men who had already seen the worst of combat, this was something new, something profoundly disturbing. Some froze, unable to process the sight. Others began shouting for medics, who were already overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the tragedy. Many could only stare, their minds struggling to reconcile what was in front of them. In that moment, they understood this was not a battlefield. This was not a prisoner of war camp. This was something far, far worse. This was a factory of death. As they breached the camp's main gate, the true reality of Dachau hit them with the force of a physical blow. Thousands of survivors, little more than living skeletons, emerged from the barracks. They were emaciated, their eyes hollowed out by years of suffering, yet filled with a flicker of disbelief and hope. They reached out with frail hands, some whispering, others crying, trying to touch the soldiers to confirm they were real. The American troops were overcome with a tidal wave of emotions. Raw, unfiltered rage, profound disbelief, and a deep, gut-wrenching sorrow. It was a feeling stronger and more complex than anything they had ever felt in the heat of battle. The conditions inside the camp were beyond imagination. The barracks, designed for a few hundred, were crammed with thousands. Disease was rampant. The stench of death and sickness was overpowering. Yet, amidst the horror, there were signs of an unbreakable human spirit. The survivors were starving, sick, and terrified, but somehow they were still clinging to hope. One soldier later wrote, "We had seen death in war. We were used to it, but this was different. This was systematic, engineered, and cold-blooded." The deeper they pushed into the camp complex, the more the horrifying truth revealed itself. They found piles of clothing, mountains of shoes, and the crematoria, whose smokestacks had spread the ashes of countless victims over the surrounding countryside. They discovered meticulous records, guard towers, and barbed wire fences, all pieces of a perfectly designed system built for one purpose: human suffering and extermination. The soldiers knew, with absolute certainty, that this truth had to be exposed. The world had to see it. When the American liberators confronted the remaining SS guards, the scene was chaotic. Some guards, caught completely by surprise, tried to flee, only to be captured by the enraged soldiers. Others surrendered without a word, their faces a mixture of arrogance and fear. The fury among the American troops was palpable and, in some cases, uncontrollable. For them, these weren't just enemy soldiers following orders. These were the architects and enforcers of this living nightmare. The liberation of Dachau quickly transformed from a military operation into a mission of humanity. Medics from the US Army rushed in, but their supplies were tragically inadequate for the scale of the disaster. They faced thousands of people suffering from typhus, dysentery, and severe malnutrition. Doctors and aid workers did what they could, triaging patients and trying to save as many lives as possible. The soldiers gave away their own rations, their blankets, anything they had to offer comfort. Some troops simply sat with the survivors for hours, holding their hands, offering a comforting presence, and repeating the words, "You're safe now. It's over." These were small gestures of humanity in a place that had been devoid of it for so long. The newsreel footage and photographs taken that day by army photographers would go on to shock the entire world. For the first time, millions of people who had heard rumors or read sterile reports were confronted with the visual, undeniable evidence of Nazi brutality. Dachau became a powerful, enduring symbol not just of unimaginable suffering, but of a truth that could no longer be ignored or denied. The images were so graphic, so disturbing, that some news outlets initially hesitated to publish them, fearing the public couldn't handle it. But General Eisenhower insisted they be shown. He said, "We are told the American soldier does not know what he is fighting for. Now, at least, he will know what he is fighting against." For the soldiers who liberated the camp, life would never be the same. They had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back. Many were haunted by the memories for the rest of their lives. Decades later, veterans would speak about that day with shaking voices and tears in their eyes, still unable to fully articulate the depth of the horror they had witnessed. They carried the faces of the survivors and the stench of the camp with them forever. Dachau wasn't just a place they had conquered, it was a memory seared into their souls. It was a warning, a chilling reminder of what happens when hatred, ideology, and unchecked power are allowed to run rampant. On that day, in April 1945, the world changed. It changed because a group of American soldiers, prepared for a conventional war, stepped into a place built for death and chose to bring life, hope, and truth back into it. The liberation of Dachau remains one of the most powerful and important moments in human history. It was the moment the survivors finally saw the face of freedom, and the moment the liberators finally understood the true, terrible cost of the war they were fighting. It serves as a testament to both the darkest depths of human cruelty and the enduring light of human compassion, and it is a story that we must never, ever forget. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please consider sharing it so that the memory of what happened at Dachau and the bravery of both its survivors and liberators continues to be honored. Subscribe for more stories that matter.